What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today we're doing another entry into the Bond franchise. For a while it was one of my favorite Bond movies. I still love it, but it definitely I don't think it's the best Brosnan one anymore. For sure it's Goldfinger. Goldeneye. Jesus fucking Christ. Goldeneye. But this one is great too. I always love the pairing of Bond and Wei Lin, which is Michelle Yeoh's character. I love her in this movie. I love the practical use of her. Like, she wasn't just beasting dudes. You had Bond just being Bond. The story was fun. I'll admit the only aspect about the movie, rewatching it, I guess is on the weaker side, would be the villain. I didn't care for Carver. He just did not do anything for me. His whole thing basically was, I want to cause World War III between China and the UK so he basically manipulates things happening to cause a war. I thought the opening action scene in Russia was great. And then we get that opening. The song is good. I think the action is fun. It's just the continuation of Brosnan's Bond films. I think what I like about them is it has a nice blend of that, like, granted this came out in the late 90s, but it has that little bit of that action early 80s to 90s style action, but you still have those Bondisms there. I love the technology. Like, there's a fucking phone he uses that basically can kind of control cars. That was funny. That scene was great. That chase scene. Teri, the Bond women in this film. Teri Hatcher, as his ex-girlfriend, was good. Granted, she's not in the film long. She gets killed pretty early on, but she was a fun character. And like I said, my only real negative was Carver. Good actor. Jonathan Pryce is a good actor. I've seen him in other movies. I just felt like in this, he just wasn't, I don't know. And it is fair, to be fair, he was following Sean Bean from the last movie, so it is a bit hard, but like, I don't know. I felt like he didn't really have anything personal with Bond. I think that's what it was. I felt like there was no personal, like, aspect. That's why I think Bond and Bean worked, because Bean had, like, a personal thing with him, because Bean was his friend. So you had that kind of with it. And I just felt like with this, he was just, I want to cause World War III basically to become famous. Essentially, that's what it was. Like, it was kind of weird. It was a weird motivation. But I did like the use of tech. Probably my favorite scene in the whole movie is the final act. I love the subway base that Carver kind of has. So, like, you at least have a little bit of that, like, old school Bond villain where they have, like, this over the top kind of base. For this case, it was basically like a submarine kind of station kind of thing. And but the way Carver dies, though, he gets fucking killed by his own, like, giant drill. Like, you even have that kind of thing, like, where Bond's, like, tied up and the bad guy has, like, this crazy weapon trying to kill him. So you at least have that, but yeah, fucking Carver goes out crazy. The chemistry between Bond and Wei Lin is great. Michelle Yeoh kind of made sense. She was coming up at the time, so it made, and the plot dealt with China, so it made sense to have her in the movie. Judi Dench's M is great. For me, she is M. Don't get me wrong. I like the M from the other movies, but Judi Dench is the M. Hold on. Sorry about that. She was the M I grew up with, so for me, she is M. So I love her, just little bits of scenes with Bond. I always that's like actually the portions of these films I've always loved is her chemistry with Bond. Just every time she just gives him a mission. They're just back and forth. So yeah, I love this movie. It's a fun one. It's not my favorite. I think Goldeneye is still the GOAT of the Brosnan ones, but for sure this is a good one. I don't really remember World Is Not Enough, so that one's actually going to be almost me going in blind with that one, because I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember that one. I think I watched it, I probably, because even as a kid, I always kind of skipped over. It was like, GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, and I almost just skipped right to Die Another Day. It's like, oh no, there's one before that. World is not enough. The one thing I definitely do remember is Denise Richards, but aside from her, like I don't really remember that movie. So I'm basically gonna be going in blind. Oh, another thing. There's gonna be an alteration. I think y'all already mentioned this that if I'm able, I don't know why I can't my fucking words out right now. If I'm able to see Mission Impossible, which I am, I'm seeing it tomorrow. So because of that, I will be reviewing it on Friday. I probably should review it Thursday, but I might. I don't know. Here, one of two things. I'm either gonna review it Thursday, and we may just. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna eventually finish the Starship Troopers movie, but I might. You know what? I was gonna review it Friday, but I might just do since I'm seeing Mission Impossible tomorrow. I'm still gonna do Braveheart tomorrow. Don't worry. But Thursday, I might just put off Starship Troopers. I'm sorry, I might just save that for another week. I'm gonna just because I want to see Mission Impossible. I'm seeing it tomorrow, and it just makes more sense to talk about it Thursday. It'll still be fresh on my mind, instead of waiting like 2 days. So yeah, I'm just gonna do it Thursday, and then Friday will still be Candyman 3. So I think that's how I'm gonna do it, and then you know what? I might just do Starship Troopers 3 on Sunday, or I'll do something else Sunday. I'll figure it out. But yeah, so Mission Impossible 3 now most likely will be on Thursday. So, but yeah, other than that, tomorrow I'll be doing Braveheart, which I cannot wait to watch. I fucking love Braveheart. And definitely in my Braveheart review, I'll probably mention my quick thoughts on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So, but yeah, let's get started on Tomorrow Never Dies. So yeah, I will be shit. Anyway. The movie opens up. We get a cool Bond action opening. I fucking love it. I love the Bond opening action scenes. It's always been like one of my favorite things of these movies. Bond being a badass, I think he steals like a plane, something like that. We get a cool action scene in the opening. People shooting at him. Bond just being Bond. Brosnan, I think another reason I really love his Bond is he knows how to do the action scenes. Like, he's a really believable, like, I think that's the one thing, he puts his all into those action scenes. I think that's, like, one of the reasons I love him. Brosnan, I mean, Connery, to be fair, Connery was in the 60s, so, like, action choreography wasn't, like, up, like, to where, even by this point in 1997, when this came out, so obviously, the fight scenes aren't gonna be as, like, choreographed. So I would definitely say, up until this point, I would probably say Brosnan has the best choreography. And it makes sense, though. He's Bond in the 90s, late 90s, when we have all this action set pieces and we're so used to choreographed fights. Like, let's be honest, by around when Connery was doing it, that wasn't a thing. He had the suaveness, and I think that's the thing I like about Brosnan. He has both. He has the suaveness, but he also has, like, the action. Like, his action scenes are some of my favorite scenes in the movie. So then this is where we meet Carver, who wants to basically initiate a war between China and the UK. It's just, his motives to me just were kind of weak. And it works for Bond, because at the end of the day, the bad guys are kind of supposed to be over the top. I don't know. I didn't feel like Jonathan Pryce really brought it compared to some of the other bad guys. I'm not going to say he was horrible. I just felt like his plan just didn't do it for me. and it could just be he's just because he followed Sean Bean in the last movie. So I think that's more what it is with me. But so Bond gets assigned the mission. Um, Bond. This is where we get the kind of obligatory Bond meets the villain at like a club scene, posing as like a bondsman, I think, or a broker, something like that. Basically posing as like a rich guy. Then along the way, this is where we meet Teri Hatcher, who's Bond's ex-girlfriend who works for Carver. Giving she gives him like all the information. That night they hook up. Teri Hatcher, man, she's a lot of people don't know she was Lois in Lois and Clark. I thought she was good in that, and I mean it does help that she's fucking fine. But I actually think in general she's a good actress. If I had to say one criticism, I do think they killed her a bit early because one of Carver's henchmen, or it's like an assassin he hires, kills her because obviously he found out that she was giving. But this is a bit later in the movie. I know I'm jumping ahead, but he has her killed, and yeah, so she ends up getting killed. I do think she got killed a little too early. I think it would have been. She should have probably made it through at least a big chunk of the movie, and then maybe that moment when Bond and Wei Lin got caught. That's when Teri should have got caught, and then you could have killed her then. I don't know. I just wanted a bit more of her. I felt like they killed her off a bit early. I understand they were probably wanting to do it so you could set up Bond and Wei Lin as a couple for the film. So I kind of understand that's why they did it, but hold on, let me see something. Just want to make sure it's still filming, because sometimes shit will just randomly stop filming. Shit. Anyway. So, yeah, that night they have sex. She gives him, like, basically the layout of Carver's base. Carver steals, basically makes it seem like, basically he forms an attack on both England and China. Basically, he's trying to frame each country for murder. So he's trying to cause a war, and M and MI6 have to basically avert a war. I think they should have leaned into that a bit more. I think that's the other thing. I guess if I had to say another criticism, I would have liked them to lean into that more. I like the kind of world politics of it. And I understand we don't necessarily come to Bond. We don't come to Bond for politics, but it would have been kind of interesting to see maybe a little bit of that aspect be a bit more explored. Because I just feel like, or maybe Carver had a better reason. I just did not care for his motives at all. I don't know. It's like, it didn't really hook me. So that's like my only real negative of the film. Because I almost feel like his fucking henchman, Gunner, I think is his name, the henchman who works for him. He's like this big yoke dude. He was more of a memorable villain to me. And he was a henchman than the actual villain himself. So yeah, so Bond finds Hatcher dead, kills the assassin, and then we get like a big chase between Carver's people and Bond. This is a scene where he basically takes control of a car with like some tech that he got from, I think, Q's in this movie. I don't remember if it's a different actor, if it's the same actor, but I do like we still have those scenes. So I do like the chase scenes and the action scenes were great. So Bond escapes, meets up with some doctors, not doctors, meets up with like some specialists about the getting this thing, which also Wei Lin, who's also investigating the same case needs, so they go underwater. And this is where Carver's people capture them. So you have that moment where they're captured, they all meet Carver. Wei Lin and Bond manage to get free. We get a big chase. And this is probably the most iconic. Actually, this is the scene I meant to say is my favorite scene. I love this chase. Bond's on a motorcycle. Even the banter back and forth between Bond and Wei Lin is great. They have great chemistry. Not once do you feel like it's just like these movies were fun, and it's like really brings me down that a lot of the newer Bonds don't even get just as good as, or nowhere near as good as this after that, this point. We have like just the back and forth. You get a big chase between them and the bad guy. I mean, Bond on a fucking motorcycle while Michelle's like on him is fucking great. It's just an iconic film. So they then that night, I think that's when they, throughout the film get closer, obviously setting them up as a thing. So that's probably why they killed Teri Hatcher so early. So yeah, then you always have that moment where they both get captured by the bad guy. And basically, Carver's plan is after he phone fakes these attacks, he wants to basically broker a peace so he can look like the good guy kind of thing. It's like he don't really care for his motives. I think either it should have been something more personal with Bond or something else. I think they could have given him a different motive. I just was not really interested. I think that's like the only time in the film. So that's why it does go down a bit. I would still give this film like out of 10, I'd probably give it like I'd give GoldenEye like almost 10, so I'd give this one like an 8. But I think it's still an entertaining ride. It's fun. It's like everything else is good. It's just the villain's weak. And I think that does bring your points down a bit because a Bond film, one of the best things about these movies are the villains. You know? Man with the golden gun, Goldfinger, Blofeld. Those are probably like when I think Odd Job, I'll throw him in there too, even though he's not like a main villain. But like those four, when I think Bond villains, are like those are like the top of on my head. Doctor No, even Doctor No from the first movie, is good. So it's like I just think there are more better villains, and it just Carver to me just was kind of meh. He just didn't really. There was no, and then yeah, Sean Bean, I'll throw him in there. Like there's just it's just I felt like there was better villains. He just needed something better than I'm gonna. And I also feel like we've already kind of did the whole I'm gonna try to fake a war between countries. They did that in multiple Bond movies by this point. And yeah, to an extent, these movies are serials, so yeah, you can argue sometimes the villains might reuse plots. I'm not necessarily against that, but maybe do it a bit more interesting. Because anytime he went on his diatribe, I just did not give a shit. I'll be honest, I just didn't. Um, so Bond caused an explode like a distraction. We get a big action scene. Wei Lin is fucking up some people. Fucking Michelle Yeoh, man. Whatever she does, she is so underrated. And it's cool that at least now, I will eventually review Everything Everywhere All at Once. I have not seen it yet. I've been saying I'm going to get around to watching it. I will at some point. But Michelle Yeoh is great. And her choreography is believable. And just in anything, I loved her in Police Story 3 with or Super Cop with Jackie Chan. I love that. Like but yeah, we hate women, and they weren't strong women, and all the Bond girls, according to weirdos, are just there to have sex with Bond, even though most of the Bond girls are literally self-reliant. Like they're all like, she's a fucking agent, a Chinese agent, still an agent, you know, fucking. Most of the Bond girls are spies themselves. Not all the time. There's some cases where they're just a normal, or like the one in uh, not the last movie, but I think the one before that, License to Kill. I think she was just it was either Living Daylights or License to Kill. I know it was one of the Dalton ones where it was just like like a hacker chick. She wasn't like an assassin or anything, but it's like a lot of times it's not like they're just there. So like Michelle Yeoh, Wei Lin had her own little thing, but she would have been one. I get it. You always kind of have to recast Bond girls. You can't just use the same one because Bond is not supposed to be tied down. So it's fine, but it's just because it's Michelle Yeoh. I would have loved to see more of her in a Bond thing, but I understand. So Carver, he dies brutally. He dies pretty fucking brutally. He gets killed by his own drill that Bond almost got killed with. And Bond's like, give the fans what they want, and fucking big ass drill. You don't see it obviously because it's like a PG-13 movie, so they're not going to show like the gore details, but it's like, goddamn. So his henchman tries to kill him, and then he gets set on fire, and basically the base starts starting to blow up. They manage to get the encoder, which that's what gave Carver leverage. So after getting out, obviously you get the classic. He hooks up with the girl, or actually before that, Michelle Yeoh almost drowns. So Bond like kisses her to kind of resuscitate her, and then they kiss on like a life raft while M and them are back at the headquarters. And yeah, I fucking love this movie. It's a fun one. I know it sounds like I'm kind of criticizing it a lot just because I'm mainly going in on the bad guy, but I still love it. I will watch this one all the fucking time. I think Brosnan still has it. I love his dynamic with probably of the Bond of like the Brosnan ones. Michelle Yeoh is probably my favorite Bond girl. Because while I love Tomorrow, GoldenEye, the Bond girl in that she's okay, but she wasn't like amazing. I don't really remember. I'll be fair. I don't really remember Denise. Like I said, I remember Denise Richards. That's more because she's good looking. I don't remember her character fully. So we'll see if she holds up as a character, because I remember more of the shit she does physically in the movie, not necessarily her character. And Halle Berry, I remember thinking was a good character, but so as of now, it's probably Michelle Yeoh. We'll see if it changes when I watch World Is Not Enough and tomorrow and Die Another Day, which I fucking love Die Another Day. I know it's an over to the top one, but I fucking love it. But yeah, this one's great. The music's great. I love the song, the titled song. I definitely recommend this one. You can watch this kind of like right after GoldenEye, and it works. Brosnan still brings it. Like, I think everything else I like. It's just the villain, really, I didn't like. So that's my only real negative. So, but yeah. Tomorrow, Braveheart, For Freedom. I fucking love that movie. One of Mel's best. Yeah, it's not, like, realistic at all. But it is a fucking great one. Fucking, the speech he gives is so iconic, and I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow. I'm probably gonna have to try to watch it maybe before I watch Mission Impossible, because Braveheart's kind of like The Patriots, kind of a long one. So yeah, I definitely want to probably watch it early. But Tomorrow Never Dies, 8 out of 10. Fucking love it. Overall, like I said, I still like it. I just have a few criticisms. But other than that, guys, let's cheers out one more time. As usual, talk to y'all next time. See y'all tomorrow for my Braveheart review. Peace!